My objectives in this presentation: a comprehensive and complete review of ENT in pediatrics covering high-yield defects. By the end of this presentation, you will be comfortable with ENT-related conditions and board questions. Hearing loss and audiology testing. In this section, we'll learn how to read the audiogram. I brought you an audiogram from the audiologist because her son is having a speech delay. What is the diagnosis? Conductive hearing loss, sensory neural hearing loss, normal audiogram. Audiogram indicating tympanic membrane perforation. If you look at the audiogram, you have both air conduction and bone conduction are abnormal. Both together are abnormal, and there is no air-bone gap. The correct answer: sensory neural hearing loss. This is the cutoff for normal. Here you have the air conduction is abnormal and bone conduction is abnormal, and there is no gap between air and bone conduction. This is a sensory neural hearing loss. By the end of this section, you will be comfortable reading an audiogram. Hearing test is two components: air conduction and bone conduction. I will explain the air conduction. We use a headphone, and the headphone will produce sound in different degrees. The sound will travel through the external ear canal to the eardrum, through the ossicles, and finally to the cochlea and nerve. Any problem prevents the sound to be conducted from the external ear canal or from the middle ear to the cochlea and nerve. This will be called conductive hearing loss. For example, a child with excessive wax, impacted wax in the external ear canal. This can cause conductive hearing loss. Or a child with severe acute otitis media or otitis media with effusion with lots of pus behind the eardrum, preventing the vibration of the eardrum and preventing the sound to travel from the middle ear to the nerve. This will be called conductive hearing loss. Cases of excessive cerumen impaction in the external ear or otitis media with effusion, the air conduction test will be abnormal, but the bone conduction test will be normal. The second component of the hearing test is bone conduction, and this is done by placing something similar to a headphone behind the ear on the mastoid process, and the sound will travel directly through the bone in the mastoid process to the cochlea and directly to the nerve, bypassing the external ear and bypassing the middle ear. If the bone conduction test is normal, means that the nerve is healthy and there is no sensory neural hearing loss. If you send a child for a hearing test because of a speech delay, the audiologist will send you the report of the hearing test on audiogram, reporting the data from the right ear on the audiogram and also the data from the left ear on the audiogram. And you need to learn how to understand it in order to explain it to the parents. Let's understand the meaning of the numbers on the audiogram. Y-axis tests the loudness of the voice, starting from 0, which is very quiet, down to 110, which is extremely loud, like a scream. -10 means super hearing, which is rare. The hearing level is measured in decibels. The Y-axis here measures the frequency of the sound, which is how many sound waves per second, and start from low pitch sound 125 and will continue to increase 500, 1000, 2000, 4000 to the highest pitch sound and measured in hertz. The best example of low pitch sound is the roar of lion. Is slow and deep to scare other animals. Letters associated with low pitch sound like A, E, I, O, U, and as you go up, the frequency of the sound will increase per second, like the sound of the bird is fast, sharp, and quick, chirping or a whistle. And letters associated with high pitch sound like S, T, F, sh sound. Hearing test result below 19 decibels is normal. 20 to 40 decibels is mild hearing loss. 41 to 55 is moderate hearing loss. 56 to 70 decibels is moderate to severe hearing loss. 71 to 90 decibels is severe hearing loss. And 91 or more is profound hearing loss. Circles or red circles represent the test result of the right ear. Ear conduction test result of the right ear. X represents the test result of the left ear. Ear conduction test result of the left ear. X. So circle means right ear, X means left ear. As we see here in this audiogram, the red circles represents the right ear is normal. So the ear conduction test result from the right ear is normal, is below 19. And also from the left ear, as you see the X's here, is below 19, so is normal. So the ear conduction test result from the right ear is normal, and the ear conduction test result from the left ear is normal. Of course, 100% if the ear conduction test is normal, the bone conduction test will be normal as well. The symbol of greater than represents the response from the left bone conduction. As you see here, the response or the bone conduction, as we mentioned in the previous slide, is normal. So you have ear conduction is normal. Of course, the bone conduction is normal as well. This is a normal audiogram. This audiogram showing moderate hearing loss from the right ear between 40 and 50 decibels, and also moderate hearing loss between 40 and 50 decibels from the left ear, as you see with the X. So the red is the right ear and X is the left ear, and is a moderate hearing loss between 40 and 50 decibels. The question now, is it sensorineural hearing loss or conductive hearing loss? To answer this question, we have to perform a bone conduction test. And bone conduction test will differentiate if this is a sensorineural hearing loss or conductive hearing loss. Of course, if the bone conduction test result is normal, means that the nerve is healthy and the problem is in the external ear or in the middle ear. Here, the bone conduction, as you see here from the left ear, is normal. So the bone conduction test result is normal. So there is a gap in between the bone conduction test result and the ear conduction, and this is called the bone ear gap. There is a gap. So if you have a gap and the bone conduction test result is normal, as you see here, means that the nerve is healthy. So the problem either in the middle ear or in the external ear. So this is a moderate conductive hearing loss. The most common cause we see in pediatrics giving you moderate or mild conductive hearing loss is otitis media with effusion, preventing the ear conduction as you see here, but the nerve is healthy as you see with the bone conduction. Now it's easier for us to understand and read the audiogram. As you see here, there is a moderate to severe hearing loss from the right ear, as you see with the circle, and moderate to severe hearing loss from the left ear, as you see with the X. So this is an ear conduction test study, and now the next step is to perform a bone conduction test to differentiate if this is a sensorineural hearing loss or conductive hearing loss. The bone conduction test result here is abnormal, is between 30 and 60 decibels hearing loss. So there is a moderate to severe sensorineural hearing loss, and there is no ear-bone gap. So this audiogram showing moderate to severe sensorineural hearing loss, and the only treatment is hearing aids. Cochlear implant is another option for treatment of sensorineural hearing loss in pediatrics for qualified children. This audiogram from the ear conduction test result showing hearing loss from the right ear and hearing loss from the left ear as well, and with the lowest point with frequency 1000, giving you U shape. The bone conduction test result here is abnormal as well, and the lowest point in 1000 hertz, and taking the U shape or cookie bite U shape, and there is no ear bone gap as you see. So this is sensorineural hearing loss and commonly seen in children with hereditary hearing loss. Tympanometry. Tympanometry is a test of middle ear status, detects the compliance of tympanic membrane. It is quick. No cooperation is required from the child. Commonly used to detect otitis media in pediatrics. Y-axis measures the compliance of the tympanic membrane. X-axis here measures the pressure on both sides of the tympanic membrane. 0 means that the pressure on both sides of tympanic membrane is equal, 0. On the positive side, the tympanic membrane here is very stiff with least compliance of tympanic membrane. Here, the tympanic membrane is very stiff with negative pressure and least compliance of tympanic membrane. In 0, this is the most compliance of tympanic membrane. This is normal type A with normal peak. Type B is flat with no peak, commonly seen in otitis media with effusion. Type B is flat with no peak, you can see in middle ear effusion, tympanic membrane perforation, patent ventilation tube. Type C, you will see that the peak is negatively shifted in the negative side. Type C is commonly seen in cases of eustachian tube dysfunction. To summarize what we mentioned before in the audiograms, conductive hearing loss means normal bone conduction thresholds with abnormal air conduction thresholds, indicative of a middle ear issue, for example, middle ear effusion, and the presence of an air-bone gap. Sensorineural hearing loss when the air conduction is the same as the bone conduction, with both showing abnormal hearing thresholds, for example, damage to cochlear neural pathways and other, and no air-bone gap. Mixed hearing loss, presence of conductive hearing loss and sensorineural hearing loss at the same time. Congenital hearing loss, more than 500 syndromes are associated with hearing loss. 50% environmental, for example, cytomegalovirus infection, meningitis, ototoxicity, for example, aminoglycosides. 50% genetics, 30% syndromic, for example, Alport syndrome, Waardenburg syndrome, Stickler syndrome. 70% non-syndromic, for example, connexin mutations, the most common.
Universal newborn hearing screening. All newborn should have a hearing screening test before discharge from newborn nursery. First, an initial test used nationwide for screening is autoacoustic emission test, and this test has a high false positive rate, so it is not easy to miss one case. If the infant failed the autoacoustic emission test, should go for automated auditory brainstem response or ABR. So we have 1, 2, 3 benchmark. Newborn in general should be screened by 1 month if it's not done before hospital discharge. Definitive diagnostic audiologic evaluation by 2 months if failed newborn screening. Early intervention service no later than 3 months of age.
Clues to hearing loss in a child visit. Speech delay, very important, very common. Social and behavioral challenges. A child asking people to repeat themselves, not hearing instructions. Listening to loud television or music. Clumsiness may be a clue to middle ear fluid.
Newborn is noted to have left-sided microtia with atresia of the external auditory canal. What is the most appropriate test to assess hearing in this newborn? Tympanometry, autoacoustic emissions, play audiometry, auditory brainstem response. The best option in this case is auditory brainstem response. Will depend on bone conduction for measuring the hearing, not the air conduction. Otherwise, routinely we use autoacoustic emissions for all infants after birth for hearing screen.
Pediatric audiometric testing, the most common we use in NICU or in newborn nursery, evoked autoacoustic emission, used for all ages. No infant cooperation is required, but has high false positive rate. Auditory brainstem response or ABR, used for all ages by placing electrodes on the scalp and behind the ears and the headphone. The headphone will produce sound. The sound will be transmitted to the brain and will be translated into electroencephalographic waveform. The child must be asleep or very still. Often used to confirm autoacoustic emission abnormal results. Hearing test methods according to the age or appropriate for age. Behavioral observation audiometry from birth to 6 months. Visual response audiometry from 6 months to 3 years of age. Play audiometry from 3 to 4 years of age. Conventional audiometry from 4 to 6 years of age and older.
We are now in the second month of the live pediatric board review course. It's a great opportunity to pass the pediatric board exam with confidence. Each condition we discuss in this course is preceded by a high-yield multiple choice question based on American Board of Pediatric style. And you will receive handout with high-yield facts and board pearls for quick reviews before the exam. Also, you will receive during this course more than 2,000 question bank based on American Board of Pediatric style to make it easy to answer the questions with confidence. You can join us at any time, even now. Also, we have an opportunity for 3 months course starting in July 19. And finally, we'll conclude this course with 10 days intensive review. Register now and join us. Thank you.